I've given our boys dolls, even if they tear the head off. I've given them dolls to learn that care and caregiving is not just an activity that's reserved for women, but that it's also an activity that is a responsibility of men. What I've done with both my daughters and my sons is if I'm reading a book and the protagonist is a male, I just change the he to a she. And it just normalizes for my sons in particular. I don't even just do it for my girls. I do it for my sons because I want them to see that women can be the center of a story, that women matter, that women are interesting. At the end of the day, we're all kind of like in this place in history maybe where we're recognizing what it is to ultimately deconstruct all these gender roles and ultimately be human. And that's exciting to me. So, I'll just continue to kind of do my work and try and deconstruct all of these like limiting narratives about ultimately what it means to be human.
Hi, hello, how are you? I am Navigator, coming to you from the Navigator Podcast, here to bring you some interesting news. Long story short, feminists are pissed, upset, especially mom feminists, because young men nowadays are leaning right. And basically, this woman had an argument with her son, and basically he demolished her, and he was 12 years old, which really does give me some hope for the future. Because yeah, young men are turning left, and I can tell you why. Because I have a liberal mom as well. She forced it down my throat, made me feel all that feminism nonsense, and so I'm rebelling. The same thing happened with the kids of the 70s. They rebelled against their parents who were more conservative, and now the children of the liberals are rebelling against the feminist-based maggots. And without further ado, here you go.
And he came in today. He said, "Mom, will you believe me that men don't have it easier than women because they get drafted into the army?" And I said, "Well, that's a really good point, buddy. What do you think about the fact that men are the ones that are starting the wars that are drafting other men?"
Yeah, that's not true. Yeah, that was a fallacy. Yeah, more female queens in female-led nations have went to war way more than male-led kings in nations. And not only that, women are way more violent than men. If you look at the number of divorce rates for both mental and physical abuse, as well, the number one people who go through it are lesbians. I don't know why. Lesbians just be beating up on each other like they're Tekken characters. Not only that, women have the highest rate for a statutory rape and rape in general, because A, they don't count penetration as rape, and B, the majority of people who hurt children are honestly women. I don't know why. It's because when you're told that, and when you actually have been oppressed for a very long time, and you go and you get a little power, most people do not, especially the ones who want to play victim, do not go from being liberated. They go from oppressed to oppressors. Yep. And yeah, it's just nonsense. It's like when I was having the same kind of conversation that I had with my mom, that this kid was having, where I said, if all the men in the United States all said no more women can vote, there's nothing that women could do about it. Not at all, because men have the monopoly on force. And then she tried to make it a race thing. And she said, and then I told her it would be different because the men could fight back. And then she said, why? Why would you fight back? You voted for Trump. Don't you think white man's superior? And I said, no, I don't. It's just that the men can still fight back because of force. The women can't. Men can overthrow the government. Women cannot. That's just a fact. And not only that, it's just whataboutism, because just because something happened, just because men were kind of mean, were definitely meaner to women in the past, does not give women the right to be mean to men, especially your children, because that's what she's doing. She's taking a big dump on her son because he was born a boy and telling him that he was wrong and that he should act more like a woman, which is funny because I've noticed all these feminists, they look really masculine, to be honest.
And he said, "Oh, well," I said, "if women were in charge, there wouldn't be wars." And he said, well, yes, there would, because I know a lot of girls and they fight just like boys do. They all have fights. And I was like, sure, men and women both have disagreements, but it's far more likely that women's disagreements will be resolved by talking it out, while men's disagreements get resolved with violence. And he just walked away. So keep doing the work, everyone. It is not easy, but it is noble.
Okay, listen up, woman. He walked away not because you got to him. He walked away because he realized my mom's propagandized. She believed everything from MSDNC, the Comedy News Network, CNN, and BS Now. All of them are enemies of the nation. They want Iran to win the war. She believes all of that, and there's no point in talking. You can't reason with stupid. You just can't. And in all fairness, the way you treated your son like that, it probably will make him even more conservative than a liberal or a feminist. Because if you think new nagging men telling them that they're bad and evil and mean and just disgusting, if that didn't work before, why do you think it will work for a younger audience? It won't. And not only that, what she said, how women deal with their fighting via talking. No, they don't. They do not. They don't talk about it. They let it fester and fester, and then they just do some petty nonsense, some real, what's what I'm looking for? Passive aggressive, yeah. They'll do some passive aggressive stuff and just be honestly jerks to each other. Men, yeah, they'll fight, but here's the thing. Two men who were friends can both get in a fist fight, beat each other black and blue into their blood like in Fight Club, then handshake and then go get a beer. Women can't do that. Not at all. And yeah, this whole feminism thing, yeah, they're really acting up. And they're scared. Because they should be, because Gen Z is going left. And so is the other younger generations. And so you must be asking, why are they doing this? What are they going to do about this? And I can tell you why. And, well, not me. I'll let someone else do it. You might notice. I'll let Gavin Newsom's, the governor of California, the guy who wants to be president, wife, tell you.
Boys, we all know, I think, or increasingly are realizing that boys are moving away from sort of the more progressive. Boys that spend time online are moving a little bit, I'm trying not to be political here, but are moving to the right and being sort of influenced by the Andrew Tates and some of that sort of alt-right socialization online that we know is very, very dangerous. My husband and I were alarmed when our kids were watching sports online and my son knew about Andrew Tate and thought he was pretty cool and thought that his Republican grandfather, who's not a Trumper but a fiscal conservative, thought that my father would like Andrew Tate. So that's scary. We're like one of the most progressive households, and our son is confused and asking all these questions. We're working on legislation to hold tech companies accountable and help them be a force for good in our kids' and families' lives, to really provide all the best-in-class resources and support for youth so that they don't go down this rabbit hole of very, very dangerous and limiting narratives around ultimately what it means to be a girl and what it means to be a boy. We owe it to them and ourselves to kind of...
All right, everybody, say it with me. Censorship. That's right. They need censorship. Yeah. Which makes sense because, A, no one likes what they're giving. Like, it's not a surprise after Elon bought X, formerly known as Twitter, it got better. Thank you, Elon, for saving society. But yeah, they need censorship because they think that if the young teenagers can't be on social media, that will stop them from being going right-leaning. It won't. It would just piss them off. Like if you wanted an enemy forever, take away teenagers' social media. It would piss off the women too, because they love that more. And but yeah, that would just they think that the kids can't just go on and start their own chat groups or like go on to it themselves. Social media isn't the only thing. And it's going to just drive men and boys really younger further and further right, which I love. It gives me hope. And now to finish with this episode, I would like to go through the Bible, which really makes sense. Proverbs 9:88-29, 9:13. The way of a foolish woman is ceremonious. She is simple and knows nothing, for she sits at the door of her house, on a seat by the highest place of the city, to call to those who pass by. Whoever is simple, let him turn in her. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, bread eaten in secret is pleasant. But he does not know that the deeds are there, that her guests are in the depths of hell. Thank you. This has been the Navigator Podcast. Please come by again, and that's the way the cookie crumbles. See ya.